County Apportionment Commission to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Pierce will come flying in any moment.
Johnson.
Here.
Reagan.
Is excused.
Stevenson.
Here.
Paul.
Here.
But we have a quorum, so we'll proceed. I know Mary's been very busy, so she'll just be popping in here at any moment. I emailed out the minutes, the meeting minutes from September 15th, and will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So move.
Motion by Wall. I'll second. Is there any discussion on the minutes?
Well, actually, I didn't like census blocks, but we'll have to live with them. But
I know, yeah.
I mean, you saw what I wrote the guy in Lansing. So
all those in favor of approving the minutes from September 15th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carried. Okay. Any public comment at this time? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on. Okay. So, since our last meeting, Leroy went in and prepared a couple of plans. The other plan that he would prepared, just for Gerald, for your knowledge, is that he had also prepared a plan with the southeast, including southeast part of Denton Township, which divided Lake James. So that one looked a little crazy. So, but then this district, or this plan 2, proposal 2, he printed out, or he submitted a report and everything, so we can look at it and everything. And I like it. I like that it's has some defined lines as to where it goes. It makes it look a lot simpler. I had to really zoom in to figure out where it ended, to make sure that there was an actual road.
yes.
Because where it goes for Markey Township, it's like, okay, there's not a road there. It's just the township line. So just so I could know for myself. But I know you said you had some comments on it. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's the problem with those census blocks. They quite often have boundaries that are aligned with roads. And so, oh, here she is now.
Hey, Mary.
So what I was going for there was to try and create something that was easily understandable by the public at large, you know, that had clear boundaries. So the way it winds up is that what we're looking at there is northeast Denton Township, north of M55, and also north of what I took on the map to be Hemlock Avenue, but I couldn't find it when I went looking for it.
That's what I had to keep zooming in as far as it would let me zoom in, and then I was like, okay, that's Hemlock. So it'll just be straight up to the lake.
And one of the things about the tool is that to do modifications for the tools for the mapping layers, and I tried to decrease the opacity so I could see the roads better. If you move it up and hold it, if you move the map and hold it, you'll see a road map, okay? But as soon as you let it go, then it's all blotted out by the district overlays that are telling you what district it is. So it's really kind of confusing. You have to pick out blocks and remember where they are, and then look and find the roads that are the boundaries of the blocks. So yeah, the Hemlock Avenue thing, or Hemlock Drive thing, I thought it would be in the area of Holly Avenue. What I found out was Holly Avenue, and it doesn't look like it is. I went driving around there before I came up here. So we may want to adjust that.
Where's it at?
I don't know, but it's that.
Hemlock.
Yeah. Or we could move the boundary to Holly, but that may intersect a census block also, because it doesn't go all the way to the lake where Hemlock looks like it's supposed to.
Right. Yeah, okay, so we'll need to zoom in some more and just kind of, or go.
I'll let you know what I find out. I'll email
And I
everybody.
go by that way when I go home as well, so I'll try to drive around and see. I'm trying to think, do you know where Hemlock is? 'Cause that was one of the discussions when we were talking about it, is what do we do with that little section right there by Riviera, well, Blake's, and because all those little roads that are in there, what they are and where they are. And because that's what I would have thought, is that it was right there in that area, but I wonder if it's in one of those cottage little things there.
I'm,
At Denton?
right now, from what I remember of the map overlays, I think it's Hemlock, I think Hemlock is even farther south. I don't know if it's an actual, I don't know if it's an actual drive, okay? It says it is on the map, but I don't know that it is.
Wait, it says it's real close to the lake.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if it's just like one of those really short little.
It says it's Pleasant View that turns into Hemlock Drive.
Oh, is it?
So
Okay,
Highway Avenue goes,
yes.
and
And then Pleasant View intersects it.
Yeah, and so we're after Holly, then it turns into Hemlock.
That's why that sign is there. There's a sign down there that says public access Denton Township, and it points at the lake. And then there is a no trespassing sign right there.
You have West Houghton Lake Drive,
Dukes.
so think Dukes.
Okay.
So right after you turn off M18,
Mhm.
and then there's West Houghton Lake Drive. Well, this is Pleasant, and it turns to Hemlock, it looks like.
So maybe what we want to do is see if we can move west a little bit and include those census blocks, just to get that whole entire little portion
Okay,
in there. I know it'll kind of, because you did a great job at like pretty balancing those numbers. But I think it would be okay that way if it just left it, if we could just do that piece of the pie where, I don't know,
okay.
try to look at that.
The reason that I picked Hemlock was because it did appear to go all the way to the lake, and all the census blocks above it
Yeah.
would be.
And I'm fine, honestly, I'm fine with this. I would just like to look at just that little section, because that's such a tight little
It is.
compaction of residents, and how many of them are actually residents
Full resident,
for,
right.
yeah, as opposed to vacation homes. And where, if we can maybe just get it so that, but again, I don't think there's roads past that. So if we could just take a look at that. That was a much better map than, I was trying to zoom in on the computer, and I was not having a good time with that. So,
Okay,
but other than that, I like the other boundaries.
Yeah, I do too, and it doesn't look like there is a lot of residential, at least what they show is what appears to be houses. But it definitely goes to the lake, of course.
Yes.
well, it's like I said, that explains why that access sign is right there.
I always get confused when I drive by there, and I'm like, if you enter, how do you get out?
You gotta enter on Holly on the north side, and then, yeah.
Oh,
And it's a one-way street. Holly Avenue is a one-way street. It goes by the old Riviera and then comes out further south.
Yeah, thanks for your work on this. I mean, it's,
Thank you. And
I
I was also looking, and I was also looking to go by, your original guidelines, which said that we shouldn't really split up townships any more than we have to.
Right.
So,
I
mean, we know Denton's gonna have to be split because it's just too big,
correct.
somewhere, but
Yeah, the only other thing, because realistically, if we had looked at it and we had to affect 4, 5, and 3, we had to do something there, because it was either give Bob of District 3, all of Nestor Township, but then it was still, so I was really pleased at how close the population and was more evenly distributed. And, you know, I don't think people realize how many zeros there were in those census blocks, and that when you're just looking at it and it's like all of that state land. And
That brings up another question that I had and that maybe you can answer. There are census blocks that are out in Houghton Lake. Okay, I mean, there are. When you do a plan, you have to assign every census block. So before we had 3 districts that touched Houghton Lake. Okay, this plan is going to make it 4 districts that touch Houghton Lake. Is there something that we have to consider as far as commissioners and their districts? You know, I mean, our county is dominated by our 3 lakes.
yes,
Period.
yes.
I mean, there's no way to get around that. But is there something that we have to consider? Something that we should consider as far as whether or not their districts include a part of the lake?
I wouldn't think so. We can only really focus as the population and trying to make that as even, and then geographically as even as we can. Even, you know, still District 3 is growing, but not by a whole lot. And I don't know that there is anything to take into consideration as far as the lakes. I mean, I'm curious, is there any houseboats out there? People live in they probably aren't residing there in the wintertime, so time, but
I don't know. You might have people more residing there full time in the winter than you do any other time.
Oh, you know, and we're gonna have, you know, in our communities, we have some that have way more woods, you know,
Mhm.
than other districts. So it will have less housing, but so the best thing we can do is, like she said, go by our population, our census, and the area is the best we can for the townships and stuff. The lakes are just part of our county. So, I don't know what else we could consider for them, because we can't be like, we can't change our numbers based on they got water, and, you know, you've done the best you can with what we have, but.
because the only other option now, like I said, I like this plan, is to, you know, jumble around all of the townships and completely mix it up and see, but then I don't know, I feel like that would probably cause the need to have more splits to maximize or to, you know, more evenly distribute the population. So
This is pretty good. I mean, as far as the numbers go, the only district that's over 1% variance is District 1, and it's under 2%.
Yeah.
So.
No, when I was scrolling through there, I clicked on it before you had sent out the email. Had gotten in there the other day, and I was clicking on the different plans, and I was like, oh, so I looked at Plan 1 first, and I was like, I just do not, no, I don't think that one's gonna work real well. And so when I pulled up Plan 2, and I was just like, that's it right there, that, you know. And so I don't know if we want to, I do want to try to investigate a little bit, is trying to see if we can clean it. I mean, it's perfectly clean, I think, where it is with the Pleasant View. Now that we know that it's Pleasant View that turns into Hemlock, but it does go right to the lake. So I think that is great, because that was why I think they went with Town Line before, or to Reserve Road, because Reserve Road went straight out to the lake. So having that clear boundary, I think, is great. We're not going to necessarily have a clear physical boundary on the township lines, but we don't have that now.
Right.
So, but on the map, I think that we're good. So I guess it's more of a, what do all of you think? Do we want to try to look at that and see if there's another road that we can kind of move that a little bit to close that little section off, or move forward with this plan, or think on it for another week and then make some decisions? What are your thoughts?
My thought is, if you're able to tweak that a little bit, right now that you know where the Hemlock Road is,
Mhm.
and see what you can figure out. If you can figure out something that you think will work better, then we could bring it, and take a look at that. And then, if not, if you're like, it doesn't flow right or whatever, let us know, send us both of them or whatever, and then we can have them both handy. I'd hate to not take a look at it, whether you
Okay.
can fix that a little bit now that you know where Hemlock is,
Mhm.
without at least trying that.
Okay.
So, then, the other thing that I just wanted to bring to your attention, I know Mary gets the emails from her prosecutor loop, and then I got it, but I did get an email from the state. And, based on the numbers, which this was a discussion we'd already had early on as to when the census numbers were actually released and such. And the US Census Bureau released their final data September 16th. There's still a lot of back and forth as to what the actual dates are. So I feel that we're on the right path with continuing. And I know in the clerk world, a lot of them are still planning. They're like, we're going to have our plan ready by October 11th, which is along the lines of where we're at as well, to just have that done. So I just wanted to make you aware that email was there.
Yeah, because the AG's office kind of said, no, you got the later date. But there's so many people that disagree with that. And there's been some civil, attorneys that have said that's not the way it works. And so, it's just, to me, cleaner to stick with that original date. And I told Michelle, what a lot of them are saying they're going to do is stick with that original date and then just put it in again at the later date, just to say, okay, are we still good? Are we still good? Some of them have, I guess some prosecutors have asked for an extension, but there was an argument again that even though the extension was technically kind of granted, is that really good enough from that earlier date? And I figure, why would we even get involved with that? We don't want to have any issues. If we stick to that first date, we know we're good and done, and we don't have to worry about it.
I'm all for taking care of business myself.
Especially since we really have not had to make drastic changes, and we're right on kind of where we want to be. Your thoughts, sir? Harold, what's your thought?
I concur.
Okay. Well, if we're good on that, if the commission doesn't mind, I'm sure Mr. Shutter has something he would like to, do you have anything you'd like to, we've already passed the public comment portion, but if you had any public comment, I would let you.
Well, I'm just going over the proposals
Mhm.
right now. How important is it that we have to stick with mandate the between 4,412 and 4,971?
What the statute dictates is that we need to be within that median. We're supposed to be as close as possible within there, within that range. We can have 11.9% variance between the highest and the lowest, but we need to try to have the population as evenly distributed as possible.
With all the state land?
Yes.
Well, my thoughts were that if Township of Nestor was put over in the 3rd district, that would bring the population up to 4,337, and that would reduce District 4 down to 4,807. The only district that would be out then would be District 3. And I had heard that maybe taking another part of Denton Township, say from Roscommon Road down to include the majority of the people in Lake St. James. Wouldn't be Roscommon, have to be further east.
The plan that Teresa shared with you is the plan that we're considering, and it actually goes north of 55, the part of Denton Township that's north of 55 to west of Hemlock on the southeast side, and then the east is to the Bacchus Township line, and then north to the Markey Township line. So it would be that portion of Denton Township.
Right. That portion right here.
Mhm.
I'm familiar with it. I lived there.
Yes, but we're also, so with the population, we're supposed to try to get as evenly as possible with population and geographical. And where we have the issue is the geographical because of all of our state land. So the plan that we have right here is a very minimal change, but it balances the population aspect of it now.
This would be according to proposal 2
Correct,
that you have right now.
correct. Yep.
And that would balance.
Yes, there's a sheet in there.
What would be the counts?
There's a sheet in there, in that packet, and it'll show you what the total population would be for each district. It's in there somewhere.
Basically, 4 out of 5 townships would be less than 1% variance in population.
Yep.
And the other township, or the other district, the District 1 would be at 1.7%. Above mean.
I'm
Yes,
looking at the right one.
yeah,
So
it's printed, it's,
It's on the back of, do you have this sheet? It's on the back of this sheet. Where it says Roscommon County Reapportionment Plan 2021. Do you have that sheet?
So,
you look like me with trying to go through all my papers in my folder, and it's like, I gotta start compacting. I need to travel light like Leroy does and just bring in what I need for that day instead of the whole folder. So as you'll see with the sheet that Mary gave you, it's, it's even on this one here, this page as well.
So then, the people who live in Denton Township will be voting in Denton Township, but for another district.
A different commissioner, yes. So it would take District 4 out of Denton Township. So Denton Township would still have a split, but it would be
It
with
was
5
still
and
vers-
3.
Would Denton Township then be incorporating that 1 mile,
Yes.
3 mile strip?
Yes, yes. Yep, so it would go all the way to town line, to the actual township line for Denton Township at town line. And then, so that whole 1 mile between town line and Reserve Road
Would go back.
would go back to Denton, yes. So it would be District 1, that's what district you're in, right, is District 1 for Denton Township. It would be a change in voting districts.
Yes.
So, yeah, so the split would change from District 2 to District 1.
And the difference.
So this is what we're considering at this time. So, Leroy, if you'll go ahead and just kind of check and see if there's a little bit, if there's any finagle, if there's a clear border there other than the Pleasant View / Hemlock, which is so much helpful now that we know that it changes names there. And then next week, let us know, we all have access now, so we can go in and check and see what's going on. And if anybody wants to try to jumble around with the puzzle pieces and, just get kind of crazy, we can do that.
I will create a couple of different variances and I'll name them 2B, 2C, okay?
Or you can name them 3, 4, 5, whatever. I mean, we just know that we gotta, but just remember when you check out a plan to check it back in.
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. I kept going in there and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's probably driving, so. So that, and then our next meeting is next Wednesday at 3:00, yes?
I can't be at the next meeting.
Okay.
I will email you guys constantly. You'll get tired of it.
Okay. And then also just let me know if you have any thoughts or anything that to go along with whatever plans we're gonna consider, and then I'll share them on your behalf and then let you know, and then we'll have 1 or 2 meetings after that and hopefully wrap this up.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay. And then you have time, Mr. Shutter, to review that stuff, and if you have anything next week, we can go over that. So,
How does everybody feel about this proposal two, section 3 under maps?
which one? We've kind of messed our whole things up here, or I did anyway.
Up class. You see,
Yeah, so this one. We've already had discussion on it prior to you coming in, and we are all in agreement. We all like this plan.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that we're asking is because of where the western boundary is on the south side of the lake, which is Hemlock. So then we realized it's Pleasant View to Hemlock. And so we just want to look to see if there's a little bit more that we can encompass in that, because Holly Avenue intersects there. But we have to divide all of this stuff. What has to be included in these districts is the census blocks. But we can't divide a census block because by a road that goes through it. We have to encompass the entire census block in a district. So we can't split those. So it kind of limits what we can and cannot do. So we're having, Leroy's gonna check and see in that little area there, if we're able to encompass more of that, just to kind of make it a little cleaner.
yeah, this area would go down to 55.
Yes, and then it curves around a little bit, and that curve, where Holly Avenue is, right? All of that stuff right there at the M18 across from Duke's. All of that condensed area, compacted area of
Yeah,
houses and stuff.
Yeah, it's on the
Yes,
north side of 55.
yes, yep. Yes,
So he's gonna see if he can encompass that to make it a little bit cleaner, because right now it would be cut off. But now that we know the Hemlock goes all the way to, that Pleasant View turns into Hemlock, and that goes right to the lake. He's just gonna finagle to see if he can work that out, and if
Yeah,
not,
the one road that runs along 55, there is a group of cottages in
Yep.
there.
Mhm.
Just to the west of the old Riviera Resort.
right,
Mhm.
and this,
exactly.
and this
And
encompasses
that
some of
comes in, and
those.
that's, so.
So he wants to check to see if he's, yeah,
That doesn't go down as far as Markowitz's.
No, it doesn't.
We're not gonna go that far down.
Yeah, almost across the street.
We're not going that.
Yeah, we
far
don't
down.
wanna-
Dukes.
Marathon station.
right.
By the creek that runs through.
No, this is closer to Duke's.
Yes,
So
this would
that's what we're looking
be
at.
Duke's area, Duke's Party Store area.
I see, yeah. And actually looking at if you look at the map that I provided that has the northeast census blocks that are in white and plain, I think I figured out what's going on there.
Okay.
If you look at the small census block, well, there's 2 small census blocks there. There's one that's got 4, and one that's got 9.
Yep.
The line that's on the north side of the line, the northeast side of the 9, that's Holly Avenue.
Okay,
Okay. So and there are places, if you want to move it north, we could do that too. Because there are roads up there that
Yeah,
are
because
more,
This road extends farther down, 855,
yeah, it does.
and you've got it cut off halfway in between.
Well, and that's what we're gonna look at.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna have look at for next week. So we can see if we can kind of encompass that just to kind of clean it up, because it's kind of a pie shape, but that's our plan to do that.
And I'll go both ways. I'll go both north and south.
Sounds great.
It's not going to affect the population that much
No,
in either district. So,
No, but I just think, like, I think where you have it, it's a clean line when it comes to the census blocks. But, you know, it just, if that little section there, just to kind of, that four, and then I don't know if there's anything else there, so if that would close that, just that little high gap. So, but, okay, so that's our homework for next week.
okay.
And thank you so much for all of your hard work on this. We appreciate it.
much appreciated.
And at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn. Okay, I second.
Okay, motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Bye-bye,
opposed, signify by
everybody.
saying nay. Okay. Thank you. Now, Johnston.
All right, see you guys later.
Yep, thanks, Mary.